you're writing something and you're like, oh, wait, am I plagiarizing? I don't even know if I'm plagiarizing. Send it to me and ask me, okay? All right, let's quick look at the schedule. I'm hoping we don't have to change any of this. We don't have to worry about snow days this year. Yay! Ryan and I will fight through the snow drifts and come to class anyway, or I don't know, something. We'll do something. So it should run pretty much as written down here. So the day of the class, what we're working on during class. Over here is your assignment. So here's your pre-chapter quiz, and here's the date it's due. All right? So, for example, today, at the end of class, at 3 o'clock, you'll get an announcement in Blackboard that says, new test, because pre-chapter 12 quiz will open, and it will close at 1:30 on Friday. Assuming, that is, that I set the information correctly in the quiz in Blackboard, which it's always possible I didn't, okay? If you don't see that quiz, let me know, because it should be there this afternoon, right? Exam 1 comes up in middle of September. Remember, we have Labor Day. So it's the only day off we get until Thanksgiving. It's a long semester, folks, so pace yourselves well, all right? Exam 2 comes around very quickly because I don't want to give you too much stuff on each exam to have to try and study. So the chunks are only a couple of chapters at a time, but that means that the exams come around very quickly, which is why I think it's very important that you stay on top of the lectures, okay? All the way down, we get no break until we get down to here. Then we've got just a week after Thanksgiving. And then the last exam, remember, it's not exactly a final. Exam 5 is just all the information since exam 4. All right? If I have to change anything, I will let you know. My goal this semester, I think it's going to be a little crazy busy, but I'm going to do my utmost to answer any emails or any discussion board Q&As within 24 hours during the work week. Okay? That's my goal. So I am going to really, really try hard to manage that across all my classes. And that's it. So as I said, go back, please read it more thoroughly before you do your participation agreement. If you have any questions, come back to me first. Anybody got questions right now, just based on what we've looked at today?
What would be like the best way to get the book? Would you recommend going to a bookstore?
I don't know what their postage times are like. I'm going to say this very quietly, if you can find it on Amazon, either cheaper or with like free 2-day delivery, I would be inclined to do that. If you don't buy a new book and you buy a second-hand book, you have to be prepared for the fact that the first owner of the book might have already used the key code. And then if you want to get access to the web page, you'll have to buy a key code from the publisher. But that's your decision. They are ridiculously expensive. Maybe you could share key codes amongst you. I did not say that out loud, although now it's recorded. Oops. I don't know, I've never bought a book from distance from the bookstore, so I don't know what their postage times are like. You know, and I've got some people that emailed me today that said, oh, our books are turning up in 2 weeks' time. Well, people, that's, that's going to be a bit of a problem, right? So, yeah, I would get it as quick as you can, as cheaply as you can. I don't have any loyalty to the bookstore here, so do whatever you need to do, okay? All right, so I want to look just for a couple of minutes, and I think I forgot to open it up. Where is it? Stop sharing that one. And share. Oh, there it is. Okay. So, the physical activity portfolio serves a couple of purposes from my perspective. The first one is that I'm not a big fan of exam-only assessment, because when I was younger, I handed in several exams blank, because I used to get the most dreadful test anxiety, and I literally froze. And then, you know, you fail a class, and it's got nothing to do with what you did or did not learn in the class. So the physical activity portfolio is a chunk of grade that isn't connected to an exam. It's not connected to a regular deadline, right? You can work on it when you want to, as you want to. It can be what you want it to be within the boundaries for the portfolio. And hopefully that takes a little bit of the pressure off the exams, right? The other reason I really love to do this project is that many of us, certainly I was, do a lot, or did, you do and I did, a lot of exercise that is what we call anaerobic, right? We go to the gym and we lift. We do hill sprints. We do some stretching, right? These are all really healthy. They're really good for us, but they don't work your heart and your cardiovascular system. And when we look long term, which is difficult for many of you who are only in your early 20s, but when you look long-term health and lack of diseases is tightly linked to how healthy your cardiovascular system is, right? Not so much on how strong we are, okay? So what I want is to introduce you to the idea of taking note of how much aerobic work you're doing, how much cardiovascular work are you doing? What is cardiovascular work, right? Is cardiovascular work only going for a run or riding my bike? Okay. What other options do I have as a busy person? What about in your 50s when you've got a family and a job and a house and a mortgage and your parents to look after, right? What do I do then to be healthy, okay? So this project is tied to some recommendations that come from everybody. It doesn't matter whether you look at the Center for Disease Control, the American Heart Association, the National Institutes for Health, the US Department for Health and Human Services is the link that I've included here. but they all say the same thing, okay? That for health, for minimum health, we need to be doing cardio work at least 3 times a week. And we want to be doing 150 minutes of cardio if it's moderately hard work, or 75 minutes if it's really hard work. Okay? And those are the minimum guidelines for health. Now, if I do more than the minimum guidelines, up to a point, my health improves. Okay? But for many people, just minimum health is what they want, right? I just don't want to be sick all the time. I don't want to have a heart attack. I don't want to develop type 2 diabetes, right? I don't need to run a marathon. I'm not interested in riding my bike up Mount Everest, right? I just want to be healthy, okay? So that's part of the goal. Physical activity and health does not have to be exercise. And that's often quite difficult for us as a population because many of us were athletes or are athletes. And so when we think about physical activity and cardio, we think, go for a run, right? Or go to the gym and get on the bike or on the treadmill. Exercise is physical activity. Physical activity, cardio, does not have to be exercise, okay? And that's something I want you to start thinking about. Where in my life can I add a behavior, or do I already do a behavior that is benefiting my health that isn't necessarily my training plan? All right? Oh, running out of time here. Read through this. You're going to start this, what day is it? Wednesday. All right, I want you to start your log next Monday, okay? What you're going to do is you are going to log any aerobic work that you do during the day and during the week. And you're going to see if it totals up to 150 minutes. If you're an athlete and you have a current training plan, I want you to not include your current training plan. If on top of your training plan, you also happen to go and play basketball at the park, or go walk the dog, or do an extra run that isn't in your training plan, you can log those as part of your physical activity. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay? So I suspect you're going to have a lot of questions about this. What you're thinking about including, you're going to have an introduction to your aerobic physical activity at some point when you put this together. So that's why I want to give you a few days to kind of read through the guidelines, go to the web page, get a better feel for what this log could be for you, all right? We're going to talk tomorrow in lab about setting goals for your aerobic physical activity, because goals are always a useful, even if you don't meet them, they're always a useful tool to kind of judge yourself against, right? Measure yourself against what you thought you were going to be able to do, okay? We're going to log the aerobic work. Now, if you want to also include your anaerobic work because you don't want to keep 2 different training logs, I don't have a problem with that. But don't be adding up the anaerobic minutes in the weekly total of minutes, okay? In a couple of weeks, we're going to talk about intensity measures for aerobic work in lab. So you'll have a better idea of how to tackle this point once we've done that lab. And then the key for me as well, because this is the bit that shows, that kind of takes part of the exams away. What are we doing in class that you can apply to the movement skills that you're logging every week? Okay? So take something that we've talked about in class and apply it to your movement that you're doing in your own time. And we'll talk more about that as we go along. And then right at the end, there's going to be a reflection. Okay? So let me just scroll down because it's time to finish. All right? You're going to hand this in at midterm for 10%. You're going to hand it in at the end of the semester for another 10%. If you want me to look at it more often than that, I am happy to. If you've got an idea but you don't know if it's appropriate to include, ask me. If you want to send me something to read, I'm happy to do that. All right? So go through this carefully. If you've got questions this afternoon, I also have office hours tomorrow afternoon. By all means, jump into office hours and ask questions, or we can deal with some questions on Friday. Okay? Anything right now? I should have shut up now. I'm talking for too long. Any questions right now? Okay. All right, well, I really thank you for joining me. It's going to be so much more fun for me as a teacher to have you coming along at class time. So I'm very thankful to those of you that can manage to do that. And I will see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock, those of you that are taking the lab.